Spring is on its way, and when I think of spring, I think of asparagus. It's one of my favorite spring vegetables, and most people like to steam it or saute it, and my very favorite way to have asparagus is to roast it or to grill it, but I really like dry heat cooking methods for asparagus. It concentrates the flavors, and it just makes it so much more asparagus-y than you could even imagine. So if you've never tried roasting or grilling asparagus, I want you to do it at home tonight. And so I'm going to show you how. And the first thing I want to talk about is trimming asparagus, because you know, books will say trim off 1.5 inches, trim off 1/2 inch, and really it depends on the asparagus, and the best way to know how much you have to trim off the end of asparagus is to break it instead of cutting it. And the natural breaking point on the asparagus, it'll just snap exactly where the tender part starts and where the sort of dry, hard, chewy, fibrous part starts also. This is pretty thick asparagus, and that means it's older asparagus, and so I actually lost quite a bit of it today because this part is all very fibrous and we don't want to eat it. But when you have very skinny, new, thin asparagus, a lot of the time just a very little part will snap off. So what you want to do to roast asparagus is to just set it onto a sheet tray, spread it out, and just drizzle it and toss it with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper. Probably using about a tablespoon for this, and this is about a pound of asparagus. Sprinkling it with a bunch of coarse salt, because I like the way coarse salt works with roasting. You get these little sort of pockets of salty, the salt melts just a little bit, and it's really delicious. Grinding out a bunch of pepper, and I'm just going to toss all of this with the olive oil, the salt, and the pepper. You want to make sure to use a baking sheet that has lots of space on it. You don't want to squish them in too much, because then they'll just end up steaming and getting a little bit floppy. You really want to give the asparagus some space, so the natural sugars in it can caramelize a little bit, and you can get some nice, sweet, roasty asparagus flavor. Okay, these are nicely tossed. They're all coated, and I'm just going to spread them out so that they all have their own room to roast. And I'm going to put them into a 400-degree oven for about 20 minutes, and when they come out, they're going to be nice and bright green and a little bit crusty and brown on some of the edges, and they're going to be delicious. Alright, my asparagus is done roasting, and it's nice and it's green in some places. It's got a little bit of brown caramelization on it. The tips are getting just a little bit crunchy, but not too crunchy. And I'm just going to transfer it over to this serving plate, because it's really easy. This is all you have to do. And the flavor is just so concentrated and so intense that I promise you, you'll never go back to steaming asparagus as a side dish ever again. And my favorite way to serve roasted asparagus is to just put it in a dish, and I like to drizzle just a little bit of balsamic vinegar over it. It just adds a little extra sweetness, a little extra bite, and everyone I've given it to this way loves it. So I highly recommend vinegar too. And you don't want to do too much, you don't want to drown it, but just a little bit of a sprinkle over